She knew he didn't deserve it. She knew exactly what he had done, and she helped him anyway. That is the hardest kind of good, and the most important. Her name was Sana. She ran a small bookshop on a gray city street, the kind of street where it always seemed to be raining slightly, even when it wasn't. She had kept the bookshop going for 9 years through rent increases and empty afternoons and the particular loneliness of a shop that sells quiet to a world that has forgotten what quiet is for. One rainy Tuesday, a stray dog appeared at her bookshop door. He was scruffy. He was soaked. He had clearly been in a fight recently. One ear was torn. He looked at her through the glass with the expression of an animal who knows perfectly well he has no right to ask for anything and is asking anyway. She opened the door. He came in. Joe shook himself dry on 3 shelves of fiction, ate the sandwich she had been saving for lunch, knocked over a display of poetry collections, and fell asleep under the philosophy section. Sana stood looking at him for a long moment. Then she got a mop. The next morning, her neighbor Karim came to the shop. He had been looking for his dog. He described Bruno exactly. The torn ear, the gray coat, the guilty eyes. Then he said something else. 3 months ago, Karim had borrowed money from Sana, a significant amount, to keep his own business open. She had given it without hesitation. He had promised to return it in 6 weeks. He never did. He had avoided her street for 3 months, changed his route to the market, stopped answering her messages. And now here he was, at her door, because his dog had found her bookshop before he had found his courage. Sana looked at Karim, then at Bruno, who was sitting at her feet, looking between them with the concerned attention of a dog who understands more than he should. She could have kept the dog. She could have said nothing, let him stand there in the debt that was already between them. She handed Bruno's lead back to Karim. He ate my lunch, she said, and ruined 3 shelves, but he slept well. Karim could not look at her. Sana, the money. When you can, she said. Come in from the rain first. She went inside and put the kettle on. It would have been so easy for her to not, to keep the dog, to say nothing, to let the debt sit between them like a wall that was his fault to build, and therefore his problem to remove. Oh, she had every right. That is the thing about this kind of goodness. It is not naive. It is not weakness. It is not, she didn't know any better. She knew exactly, and she chose differently. Maybe you have had a Karim in your life, someone who took what you gave and disappeared with it, someone who promised and didn't, someone who made you regret ever being generous in the first place, and after that, maybe you closed something, a door, a hand, a part of yourself that used to give easily. I understand that. But here is what Sana understood that is very hard to learn. Your goodness does not belong to the people who misused it. It belongs to you. The ones who took from you do not get to take that too. Helping someone who doesn't deserve it is not foolishness. It is the proof that your character is yours, not theirs to define, not theirs to diminish, not theirs to keep. Tell me in the comments, have you ever done something good for someone who didn't deserve it? And did it make you smaller? Or did it quietly make you more yourself? Karim came back 2 weeks later, with money. Not all of it, but some. With a handwritten note that said more than the amount on the page. He brought Bruno. Bruno came in, went immediately to his spot under philosophy, and went to sleep. Some things do not change. Sana put the money in the register. She put the note somewhere else, somewhere she kept things she wanted to remember. Outside the bookshop window, the city rain continued as always. And inside, 3 shelves of fiction were still slightly out of order. She hadn't quite fixed them. She wasn't sure she wanted to,